So in this quick video, I'm going to go over the taxes that we pay as tourists to go to popular all-inclusive resort destinations like Cancun, Punta Cana, and Jamaica. In fact, I'm getting ready to pack for a trip to Cancun in just a few days. And if you are new to my channel, 3 days and tres noches, I bring you honest resort reviews, travel tips, and information about the destinations that I go to. So please like and subscribe, especially if you want to see that latest honest review that's coming up in just a few weeks. So I was actually researching this for my own knowledge because I have noticed that taxes have increased every year as I travel, which is just normal. That's everywhere you go. It's not just tourist destinations. So I was just curious as to how much I am paying in taxes every time I go to these places. And I get a lot of questions about this. So let's start with Cancun since that's where I've been traveling the most. And the taxes and fees that were included in my flight costs were $167.11. The biggest one was the Mexico tourism tax, which is $36.51, and then the departure tax, which is $48.72. Then there's a bunch of other little the aviation fees and the U.S. transportation and U.S. immigration and Mexico immigration. So there's a lot of different fees in there. Now, the other thing about some of the destinations is they have taxes that are not included into your flight that you're still required to pay. In Cancun, it is the environmental tax, which is included in your resort, usually like the hotel, wherever you're going to stay. And then there is the visit tax, which I've done several videos on. There's still so much confusion because you have to do this online and no one is necessarily checking it at the airport. So it is still a mandatory tax. I know there's a lot of comments on it, but that is still an additional tax. So if you add those into the 167, because I think the visit tax now is closer to $20. The environmental tax, it kind of just depends on the resort, but it could be like $30 to $40. So now you're over $200 per person for taxes and fees for Cancun. So another quick thing to consider too is sometimes resorts will charge different taxes. So you may have stayed at one resort and they're charging different taxes versus another resort. So you're always going to have that environmental fee, but just check ahead of time, just know the additional taxes, any additional fees that they may put in there, like a resort fee, because that's different than a tax. Let's go to the Dominican Republic because that's the next destination that I spend the most time in. And their taxes and fees that were in my flight cost was $178.39. So a little bit more than Cancun, but if you remember, Cancun has those additional taxes that you are going to get in the resort and then the visit tax. Well, the Dominican Republic, the largest chunk goes to actually the U.S. transportation tax and the airport infrastructure fee. But they have a lot more different line items. And again, I'm going to list all these. So it's just distributed differently, basically. But it comes out to about the same. So I wouldn't necessarily not go to one or the other because they're charging more taxes. Now, again, with the resorts, sometimes they're going to add in that environmental fee, or there's a resort fee or an additional tax. So just make sure you check that when you are booking. So next, let's go to Jamaica, which is one place I have not been yet. I was supposed to go this year, but I'm going to put it off until next year. So I was interested to see what taxes they charge tourists. So their taxes and fees came out to $194.24. Their biggest chunk was the Jamaica travel tax. They have a passenger service and security. Again, a lot of little tiny tax lines here. I will list them in the description. So theirs does come out to a little bit more than Punta Cana and Cancun. And just like the other two destinations, the resorts can also charge an additional tax. Now, I'm not going to dive into every single tax and where it goes and what it is good for, because I just don't think that's a good use of my time. People will ask, well, what is it used for? Why are they charging this? I think it's just typical of any taxes, any government, any tourist destination. They are trying to, make money off tourists. I mean, that's just the name of the game, and that's part of traveling. But it was interesting for me to do this research and to see that all three destinations are basically about the same. You're going to be paying around $200 per person extra in taxes to visit these places. Now, is this going to affect your decision to go to these places? I certainly hope not, because any tourist destination is going to have a list of tourist taxes that you have to pay. So really the point was just to show you that all three destinations are pretty comparable. And I'm not going to go into each line and try to figure out like which tax it is and is it being put to good use, because we know that that is a useless game to play. Taxes are what they are. And really the point was just to increase my knowledge about these 3 popular all-inclusive destinations. And I would love to hear any knowledge that you guys might have about this subject. Any comments? I'm sure there's a lot of comments, about the taxes that we have to pay, and people get upset about it. But at the end of the day, that's just, like I said, it's part of the game of travel. And I hope you keep following me. Again, like I said, I'm getting ready to leave for Cancun in just a few days now, which is exciting. So I'm going to be bringing you a lot more reviews and different excursion videos. So make sure that you like and you subscribe to my channel. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok.